Okay, here we are, practice assessment question number 6. So again, we're dealing with scaling, of course, because that has been our focus. So the scale on the first map is 1 centimeter to 20 kilometers, and they give us a distance of 10 centimeters. Obviously, the 10 centimeters is on the map because it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense if that was how far those two cities were away from each other in actuality. Then they tell us about a second map, and it has a different scale. So the question we're being asked is the distance on the second map. So in order to answer this question, we're first going to have to figure out something about that first map to help us out. Now, I do want to point out that it asks us to explain our reasoning, but if we simply show all of our work, we should be all set as far as explaining it, because we wouldn't just be putting a number down. So let's start out with our first scale. Scale on the first map, so this is map 1. And it tells us that it's 1 centimeter for every 20 kilometers. And then it tells us that on the map that it's 10 centimeters for the distance. So therefore we are looking for this right here. We don't know how many actual kilometers it is. So in order to find that out, I ask myself, what do I multiply 1 by to get to 10? And obviously it's 10. 1 times 10 is 10. Whatever I multiply the top by, I also multiply the bottom. So 200 times 10, 200, I did say that wrong. 20 times 10 is going to give us 200 kilometers. So obviously I just gave you the answer, but that's not my final answer. This is just the actual distance, because we need that in order to answer the second question, or the actual question, the second part of the actual question. So here's my actual distance. And now I'm using the scale on the second map, where I know the second map, I have 1 centimeter is equal to every 60 kilometers. And I know I have an actual distance of 200 kilometers. So the thing I'm missing is the number of centimeters. So I now have to ask myself, how do I get from 60 to 200? Well, that one isn't as quite an obvious one as what we've seen in the past, but we do know that when we have this, we simply write it out as a fraction, 200 divided by 60. So we want to see if they share a gazinta, but this one should be fairly obvious. They both got those zeros at the end. They cancel out. What I'm really doing is dividing both top and bottom by 10 when I do that. So now that equals 20 over 6. Do they still share a gazinta? They sure do, because they're both even numbers. So I would divide top and bottom by 2. That's going to give me 10 over 3. They no longer have a gazinta to share, so I just need to reduce it. And that would equal, 3 goes into 10 3 times, with 1 left over. So it's 3 1/3 centimeters as our final answer. And again, we explained everything by showing all of our work. The only thing we could do further is to label it, and this, of course, is map 2. I know I labeled the first one as map 1.